We back? I think we're back.
We're almost back.
Almost back. We're
Feeling back. All right, cool. Hey, we thought we'd take some questions on all the tactical stuff that we were showing off. So if you've got anything in there.
So Solar Blitz asks, those spiky patches, are they hidden traps? I think that the idea for the danger tiles would be something you'd be able to kind of grok and see, but we will be playing with those kind of different ideas, seeing like what would it be like if they could be, spiky holes that kind of spikes, pop up.
Yeah, like
with
retractable spikes. That would
so we'll
totally
see how that
sense.
works.
It's a bit D&D.
Bit D&D.
It's a bit D&D for the but
Any dungeon crawling, but we'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Now I see why it's kind of hard to get questions, because it's hard to follow the chat stream.
Anthony's had many weeks of practice.
Yeah. So Smiles asks.
Hey Smiles.
Hey Smiles.
Also, hey Solar Blitz.
And hey Solar Blitz. Will poison tiles or any tiles creep dynamically in size, or I assume, let's see, let's cut off, or move at all, or once set down will they be static in place? So I'm still figuring that out. We are actually thinking about the corruption being a creeping thing, that there may be a corruption spawning point, basically, that kind of dynamically corrupts the area that's around. So we'll have to see how that works. And how it works with the timing of the game too. Like, we don't want it to be like, if you didn't go to the left, that this thing it basically takes up half of the map by the time you get over there. So,
and it's interesting how these ideas sort of like come out of each other, because really, like, we know that we want to use that thing for the corrosion demon, that it's like a suicide guy that explodes, and he's going to leave a bunch of corrupted tiles like in an AoE around him when he explodes.
Yep. And Henry the White just asked if damage tiles would be dropped by demon abilities.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That is totally the idea.
So, like, that's why we wanted it, and then we were thinking like somebody else raised the question of like, well, we're working on I think it was somebody on the team. It was not me. It was not you. I think it might have been Jeff or Andy, just being like, hey, what does a corrupted region look like when you go into the tactical map? And I was like, oh crap. Like, I had not thought about that. But if we have these corruption tiles that are like randomly distributed on the tactical map, the more that corrupted that region is on the strategy map, the more of these corruption tiles you would see on the tactical map. It seems like it would give a really nice cohesion to the whole thing, like connecting those together, which would be really cool.
Yep. A couple more questions. This is from CompuFreak99. Welcome back. Any thoughts to ring out style deaths using knockback?
So we've talked about it, but I'm like, it kind of bums me out, actually, like ring outs, knockback ring outs. When it happens to you, it feels cheap, and when you do it to the enemies, it feels like they're dumb, usually, if they're standing in the wrong place. I'm kind of thumbs down on it. It also requires a bunch of additional like animation support and effect support and things to actually make it make sense. So like, we're saying no to like ring outs right now.
But you could totally knock someone back onto.
But you could totally knock somebody back into
yeah.
this. It's not an instant kill though, right? That's the thing that I don't like about the ring out, is that it's always an instant kill, and I think that's what really bums me out about it. So knocking an enemy onto a tile that's going to damage him, or through a tile that'll damage him, like, that's awesome. And if he's got, if he's low enough where that kills him, sweet, you're going to feel super smart about it. But if he's like a super buff dude and you hit him and kill him in one shot, I just don't think it's satisfying. So.
Waving People asks, can you set a trap directly underneath a cadence, assuming you can set traps at all? Well, we do have kind of mine-style traps that we're planning to do. We haven't implemented any of them yet. But yeah, you either be able to drop them right at your feet or in a square around you. Yep. And assuming that a cadence is there, they probably take damage immediately, or when you trigger the trap. So we're looking at things that you could set and then maybe shoot from afar to blow up. Kind of a motion sensing mine, or something that when they step on it, they'll blow up, or it'll blow up.
Yep, and
so we're definitely gonna have that kind of
stuff. It seems like it's the kind of an easy thing for us to prototype up once we have things like AoE damage and like exploding barrel type things in the game. It seems like it's relatively simple to prototype that up as a player ability, and then like test it out and see if it's going to be cool. And then if it's going to be cool, sweet, we move forward with like cleaning it up, doing it the right way, getting art for it, and then we ship it.
Yep. And
I don't know, video games.
And Juso Manga asks if any traps would affect an area, and yeah, like we were gonna have AOE explosions and maybe even cone-shaped damage areas, and we just don't have any.
There was one of the alchemist variations. We have like a sticky kind of goo grenade thing,
Right.
which would actually create something like that potentially. Like that's one way to do it. Like one way would be just debuffing the enemies when it hits them. The other way would be laying like a 3x3 patch of those slowing tiles. Like again, that's the kind of thing where it's like once we have all those tools working, we can test it both ways and kind of see which one is more fun. Because I mean, yeah, for sure, it's like the goo version. The slowing tile version is kind of both have advantages and disadvantages. Like the slowing version might be better when you can't see the enemies. You're like, I'm gonna put this in this choke point and then get my hunters behind them. Cool. And then when they come around, they're gonna move. They're gonna move really slowly through it. Cool. But then the other version might be better when you can you have sightline on them and they're close to you and whatever. It's like just have to mess around with it. Like I think those things are pretty easy to test. And yeah, I mean it's. You kind of feel like a broken record, but everybody talks about iteration being the thing that makes video games good, and it's totally true. And
this is my favorite part of the project, when we can dive into things, and every day we're getting in new mechanics, testing out tweaks on something, or saying like, okay, what is this? If this affects this guy this way and this guy this way, how does that work? And then we throw it into a danger room like this and give it a shot. Couple more questions?
Yeah.
Solar Blitz asks, what ways we let players keep track of their character's current AP items, etc. on screen, like a shortcut screen? Well, I don't think we have that. We don't have that in yet, but you'll have, you see kind of the bottom left, like a little status box about your current hero. And so we'll have that show the most pertinent information, and then you'll be able to go to the characters, basically their character sheet, and see everything that they have going for them, their talent tree, all that stuff. Right. So stay tuned. This is actually a good question because I don't think we've talked about it for a while. Bucky Bits asks, what's the roadmap for the early access / build / public test demo? He's not up to date on that.
Oh yeah, we're still trying to determine exactly when we believe it would be done, but it's going to be like mid next year is what we're shooting for. Yeah, we've got our production plan just about done, and then we'll be able to start executing that. And as everyone knows, once you have a production plan and you enter production, everything always goes according to plan. Nothing ever goes wrong.
Every day is just
the game turns out perfectly. It's on time and on budget and on schedule every moment of every day.
95 Metacritic.
And then 95 Metacritic. That's how video games go. So there will obviously be changes once we enter production. We start messing around with it. Like we might have to cut some features, add some features, change some features, like whatever. Like that's all part of the process. And I don't know. Hopefully that's not too annoying as a backer. Hopefully you enjoy seeing the kind of like weird, dirty, messy process of like making a video game.
Yep.
But yeah,
lots of great questions in here about the way tiles might work, if the damage can stack and all this stuff, and that's what we're still exploring. Right now, you actually can accidentally put a couple damaging tiles in the same place, and a guy just died walking into that tile, which was cool. So we already have stackable effects, and yeah, we're just gonna be playing with a lot of that. So here, this is what would happen if you stood on some corruption at the end.
He died.
You don't see it.
Just
he
instantly died, yeah.
Oh boy.
Only had 1 HP left. Whoops.
I like the geyser though. I hadn't seen those yet.
Yeah, those are cool. And we'll talk about this a bit more in the next section. But as we're talking about the different regions that we're going to make the maps based on, each one we want to have a different, unique, dynamic, element that affects combat and play. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, end your turn a few more times, Brad.
Oh, I thought
We'll
I would
see the
just,
new
I thought I would
defeat
just
screen.
give
maybe.
one of these,
Cool. Oh gosh. Wait, do we have does the fail in there? No?
It should. I don't know what this danger room. Danger room looks dangerous.
They don't call it the danger room for nothing, folks. Okay, you're gonna have to restart. But luckily, it's time to transition. So
yeah, okay.
Cool. Thanks for the question, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. Thanks for everything. We'd also like to give a special shout out to Sullivan So this is actually Chad's nephew.
No, this is a sheet of paper.
This
It's
is a sheet of
not
paper.
Chad's nephew.
So Chad's nephew
He drew it though.
sent this in, Master Chalice backer for life. So thanks. It's awesome. I have it on my desk.
He's a fan. I'm trying to get him to watch these team streams, but
Yeah, maybe now.
he's still learning. He just
Now
had
that
his
we gave him a
birthday.
shout-out.
He's 12.
He's 12.
Are these
Yeah.
team streams
Very
okay
nice.
for ages
I
12
think
and up?
so. Brad swears a few times, but I think
What?
they're safe. I think
It's
they're
not so bad, is it? I don't know. We talked about it.
safe. I think they're safe. He might be watching now. We'll see. If not, he's sure to catch it. You can see these later, right? They're
Yeah,
archived?
you can totally see him later.
And
So I'll make
again,
sure to-
this team stream is brought to you by Andy's amazing beer.
Oh, that's
Massive
right.
Wee.
Yeah,
We
we're
have
drinking
bottle
another
of that.
bottle number 2 of Massive Wee. It's amazing.
It's like every 2 weeks we get to have this fantastic drink.
It's good. It's a little more mellow. Doesn't
Yeah,
feel quite as frothy.
It's
or whatever.
awesome. It's awesome. Okay, so Chad, if you could go
I'm gonna get
grab
those guys.
Andy and Jeff, and then okay. Oh, also we forgot to mention this, but Massive Chalice backer Mark. I'm gonna mess
Oh,
his
right.
name up. I need to look it up. I got it right here. I don't know how to pronounce it. Mark Kalanick.
Thank you, Mark.
Clink, Mind of
You
Clink
rock.
on our forums. So he donated a large sum of money that he wished to pass on to like new backers, make new backers.
He's Santa Claus.
So basically, Santa Claus. He gave us some money, and he wants us to give away $100 copies of Massive Chalice to
including the backer
two people.
rewards. So you get,
yeah, so you'll get to
your
make a
name
bloodline,
in the
get your
game.
name in the game, all that stuff. So at the end of this, as soon as we finish this demo, we'll be giving one of those away randomly to people in the chat.
Yes, stay
So-
tuned, and you have to.
Yeah, stay tuned,
be in the
and
chat.
it'll be awesome. Like we'll give one away later, but right now we're gonna be moving on to another environment that we have in the game. Here they come. So this is cool. Hey,
Flight of the Artists.
Jeff's just getting me gobbled.
he is all
Ah.
right.
Realize you'd open
I
it.
think that they
Dan-
killed it. I
Dan
think
opened
Dan
it.
drank a lot of it and it's
Holy
gone.
shit. Jeff didn't get me last time.
Oh man, seriously?
Well,
I think it's all gone. Oh man.
no.
We failed. Well, you can
Partially.
blame me.
Only partially. Wow, blue.
I would offer mine, but
Here he comes.
there he comes.
What? No, I'm not blaming Dan. I'm totally not blaming Dan. Dan, it's your fault. So when you're off camera. Did you get some more beer though?
Yeah, I did.
Can you bring some of it in for Jeff?
Yeah. Do you want? We got an Anchor Christmas and.
I just want to make sure Jeff gets some this time. Is it all gone?
I have a
It's
little bit
all
left,
gone.
but I had a cold this week, so I don't think you should drink after
Sorry,
me.
Jeff.
that's okay.
Depending on the alcohol volume of Massive
next
Wee,
time.
maybe
Next
it's
time.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I feel terrible.
Yeah, the Grinch who stole Christmas beer.
The Grinch who drank Christmas.
Just go produce more beer and we'll be fine. Okay, back on topic.
Did he just run in here and chug it? Is that what?
Back on topic.
I didn't
Back
even
on
know it
topic.
was open.
So we've been looking at this mangrove level for a really long time, and it's like, it's our vertical slice map, and it's, we've proven out all the art and the level production process, all that stuff. But now we're at the point where we've been exploring other regions, and we've had some additional artist time to kind of throw at other regions. So the first one that that we wanted to get going, we're calling the salt stacks. And so this is kind of a combination of these amazing hot springs in this place called, I'm going to mess it
Turkey?
up, Pumakale.
Yeah, I just say hot springs in Turkey.
Pumakale.
That's the
I don't
Google
know.
image search.
Hot springs in Turkey
Yeah.
that have these really weird shapes. I don't know. It doesn't really look like a real place on Earth, but it totally is.
Yeah.
And
Don't type in Turkish baths.
it's not a Turkish bath. I keep calling it a Turkish bath.
careful,
That
say
is something
search
else. That's
on.
something else completely. But but these things are really cool looking, and then also mixing them with some salt flats. Like, we were kind of thinking about like our level, our playable space is totally flat. So like, what better than some salt flats? Sweet.
Of course.
So we thought we would merge these two together, and we ended up with this environment that we've showed the concept art for before, but this is the first time we actually have it in the game. So Jeff, you've been working on this. What do you want to say about it? other than it's awesome.
Well, I think we talked about this. Hey, we discussed
We talked
this,
about it? No,
we
we talked about
discussed this a little earlier, and that I think the problem that it's having right now is that it's actually trying to emulate like a very humid and hot,
Yes.
dry, weird kind of environment. And right now, it looks like you're in the Arctic.
It looks like Ice World.
Yeah.
That's definitely like, and it was weird. We got it a little bit from the concept art, but it was sort of like, oh, maybe maybe it's
Well,
not so bad.
I think
but we'll see.
there's probably too much of the like reflective pool.
Yeah, I think so.
in there, but also the environment map looked better a couple days ago, and then it got reverted back to something else. So it's sort of the wrong environment map for the worlds. That doesn't help it much. And then there's just also a lot of blue. I think it got too blue.
Yeah.
Like just in general, like
But
even the
I think if we cut down how much reflective stuff there is, then the blue will.
yeah,
cut
especially
down to-
like in the playable space.
Yeah,
if
I
there's a
think the
lot
playable
less
space should
reflection.
have its own color and not have as much reflection.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably be fine.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Look at this.
Consolation prize.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan's heart grew 3 sizes that
Here
day.
you are. Here you are, sir.
You get first dibs.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I'll try one of
you
these
2
guys.
weeks in a row.
So for sure, we're gonna try to. Yeah, and I guess that was the weird
Cup
thing.
for beer.
Is that I don't really didn't have time to do my research about the place in Turkey, but like it looks like a sort of cooler environment, and yet some of the salt flat stuff that we were going for was like the real sort of scorched, like sun scorched salt flats.
I mean, I think we can find a good balance, but I think it's going to take some exploration for
Yeah.
sure. But at least we have a place to explore from at this point.
Totally.
Yeah, and if I turn off the fog of war,
And the layering looks really cool. I mean, that's like we have some visual issues with what's playable space and what isn't, but like definitely with our camera, the layering reads really well.
yeah,
Yeah,
and this is
I mean, that's
great.
that's a
awesome.
huge shout out to Panya too, because before that was when I first made the level, that was the problem that I was having. I was like, I can't even tell what's the playable space and like what's not. I mean, not so much what you can walk on and what you can't, but like what's even on the same level. Like all of the lower areas looked like they were all squashed up into the higher areas, and so he added some height fog and tweaked down the lighting in the level. So one, things weren't like blooming and blowing out, and sort of all the whites sort of look like they're all fused into one. And then as the level gets deeper, there's a lot of it gets obviously it becomes more occluded by the fog, which helps a ton.
Yep.
Another thing that we identified is just to make it more playable. Like I love the kind of concept for this that you came up with, Jeff, which is great because this is like a total gameplay thing. Is that it could just be these cool kind of arenas that are connected by narrow bridges, and like I mean, you just prototyped this up. Like you didn't do the layout for this. I didn't do the layout for this. Like it's awesome. And it totally works. Like just this kind of like going bowl to bowl and having dudes, having some of your range characters. Like if I put an arbalist right here and I have somebody spot for them, they'll be able to attack these squares that are over here.
Mm-hmm.
That's super awesome. Like
Well, that's kind of what you wanted originally, right? It was just like a big open space for range guys. Unfortunately, that means the enemy range guys can kick the crap out of you.
yeah. But it's great, and it has just running around, and I can turn the fog of war back on. Like running around on it right now, it has such a different feel from the not just visually but gameplay wise. It has such a different feel compared to the mangrove level that it has. I don't know. It just gives me a lot of hope for making these regions feel really differently. And the overall goal is that we would have like tactical advantages for taking different kinds of characters into these different kinds of environments. I mean, I don't think they have to be much. But like this environment, for instance, would be like better for ranged characters because it's a little more open. They can shoot over those big gaps. Cool. We have an alpine environment that's going to have a lot of like really tight, densely packed kind of foresty areas. So it's like okay, there like you want to send more caberjacks into an environment
Better for
like
grizzly
that.
bears.
Lots of them. Hunting in packs.
Yeah. Wolves do pretty well in all the environments.
But these
Cockroaches
bridge-
survive everywhere.
The other thing that we learned is that these nubs, these like ridges these ridges on the bridges, are like really hard to read. And it's like if I were to turn off the UI, I don't even think that I would know that my character could go over this through onto this bridge, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we just need to smooth these things out. I mean, it's very early, and it's awesome that it's like up in the game and we can see it and whatever. There was one other thing that I sort of noticed when I was originally kind of running around on it, and I think it was just there are some areas where the drop off from the playable down into the non-playable is not high enough.
It looks
And
inviting, doesn't it?
It looks inviting, like you could
Yeah.
just
I
kind
think
of
it was
jump down there.
It's if you go down, it's actually on the one you can't see right now.
I'll fix that.
Yeah, and if you spin the camera so you're looking at it from the opposite direction, one more. There you go.
Oh yeah, like
that
right
was,
here.
That was the spot you talked about.
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah. It's
But I
and-
think if we differentiate the playable ground and don't use that anywhere
Yes,
else, then I
if they
think
just
that
if there's just a
problem
totally
goes
different
away.
texture on the
Yeah.
playable space as the non-playable, we could probably have that, and you wouldn't feel like it. It's also interesting how the like 45-degree angle kind of messes with your brain a little bit
Yeah,
when you
it
see it.
really does.
It gives you like a slight optical illusion sometimes because I think it's this spot. If I rotate the camera, it doesn't look like I would want to jump off there at all. But when it's back on this on this angle, it looks like you could just hop down there, and it's like it's really not that far. So yeah, just like differentiating with texture, and then maybe pushing, just coming up with a metric for like, okay, the non-playable ridge stuff should never be below this, and then cool, we got it. There was another awesome thing. I think this right here I think is great, where this is the outside of the level on the edge, and it's sort of we're learning about. This is basically the opposite of the mangrove level. So on the outside of the mangrove level, it's all just ocean, it's all wide open, we don't have to worry about this. But this is great that this is like, one of the next areas we're tackling, because it's like, how do we have pants that are vertical?
Vertical pants.
Vertical pants as
Well, it's like how high can you make something before it
right.
like
How high
pokes
can
through
you
the camera?
How high can you
or
hike up
looks
those pants
weird?
before it starts like clipping into the camera? And can I zoom it in? I'm probably gonna mess it all up. Yeah.
I think it's the exact
Oh, is
right
it?
height. Yeah.
It's not clipping at all. Amazing.
It's like 12.
It makes
or
it so you
something.
totally can't see anything.
Right, right.
So that's still a problem.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would need alpha that out.
Clipping a little.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's totally
But
fine.
there's no
It-
camera box in here either, is there?
No,
so that's
that's
another thing, right?
Oh, right. I can just drive it all the way out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there is a camera box. I just named it wrong, or I don't know.
But yeah, this is cool. And then there's also, I think it's awesome. I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but is this like a cube map? The environment,
Yeah.
the environment map.
Yeah.
So
It's a broken cube map.
it's a broken cube map,
Yeah.
but I thought it was really cool because like I barely know how cube maps work. Could you explain it for the audience at home?
So a cube map is basically.
Let me guess. You start with a cube. All right, sweet.
Unwrap the cube.
So you take an image. It has 6 sides, right? Just like a cube, and you place them in world space inside of the camera, right? So essentially, these edges of the cube are going infinitely out in every direction, and it's set in world space. And you can see it when you rotate the camera that the image is rotating, but when you're moving the camera around, it's sort of following where the camera is,
Right,
Because it's
and you can
going to
and I thought it would be cool to call this out because it's broken right now. You can
Yeah,
actually
you can
see,
see the
this is
edges.
the corner of one of the cubes. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
see
normally
this
you
line
wouldn't
on
see the edges of them
on the
at all.
Teamstream.
And-
I hope they can see this with the compression, but there's like a vertical line here and then a kind of 45-degree line, and this is one wall of the cube,
Yeah.
right? And then the other one is down here. Yeah, so you're sort of looking into the corner
Yeah.
of that cube.
Yeah, and since our camera is at sort of a 45, you're always going to be looking into a corner of one
Sure.
of the 45 of one of the edges of the
And,
cube.
and you can see the other one here.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It's a way to sort of fake refraction, right? Like if you look at something that is completely covered in chrome in the real world, it sort of reflects the environment around it. This is how we cheat that, because doing real-time environmental reflection is a incredibly processing intensive thing. Like Pixar has banks and banks of computers that do this.
But do it for real. And
Yeah,
we're just
but
like,
do it for real,
you
yeah.
know. And they're not doing it. They're certainly not doing it 60 times a second. So,
Yeah.
Sweet. Do you want to say anything else about this? We're going to show you guys more environments that are coming online. That are kind of like to a test level like this.
There's a lot of awesome ones, man.
Yeah, we've got
I want you to show them all, but
I know we're gonna dole them out. We're gonna dole them out. We don't wanna rush and just kind of blow everything out. So yeah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait on it. But is there anything else you guys want to say about this one?
You want to take some questions?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Let's take some questions. Let's see.
it also doesn't help that these guys aren't like splashing through the water or anything like that yet. sort of reinforces the iciness of it, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Are we hiring radness consultants? Asks Scrubs. Scrubs.
that a-
League?
Are you saying we need them?
Wait, yeah. Are you
is-
saying
is-
we need him? Wait a minute. Is that
We need
Slightly
radness
is that an
consultants.
insult?
Is that
Oh
some
my
sort
God.
of weird term for game tester?
No, it's just somebody who can do a kickflip off of a desk, and I don't know.
What is it? Is that what happens? Is he come into the building and he kick flips off of the windowsill and then goes like, "Dude, that sucks, bro," and then takes off?
Yeah, typical radness consultant contribution.
Like a Lundberg.
We just
make
played
them more
that. We just
rad.
paid that guy $20,000 for that. Jeez.
Henry the White asks if people are going to be basically splashing through this.
That's the
Yes,
idea.
that's-
Is it supposed to be water? or-
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
it's supposed to be just very still,
It's it's a reflection pool basically, where it's very low. It's
An
not a very
infinity
deep
pool?
Yeah, an infinity
Infinity
pool. There you
pool.
go. Yeah, it's very shallow water, but has sort of like a solid white or grayish background, which would make it a mirror basically.
Here's one.
word wrap on.
Oh God,
really
that'd be
easy.
so much easier.
Format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
damn.
Kirby Tales 7 asks, are these different environments going to be separate, or will there be some blended levels? For example, mangrove on one side leading to salt on the other side.
No. We're going to keep them all distinct so that we don't have to solve that problem. There are ways to solve that problem, but I feel like they're kind of expensive, and it sort of muddies the... I don't know. I really like having really recognizable, distinct environments where you're
I don't think
like
our maps are really big enough
yeah,
for that to work anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like a big sprawling open
because
world.
there are
It's-
some
it's
games
a-
that do it great. Like
You could have one that's like completely blended, right? Where it's like 50% of both for the entire map. If we wanted to do that, I mean,
I think that it would just be sort of confusing,
I agree.
Like I think
It would
it's
look
really
weird.
good to be to be entering into an environment and know that okay, I'm going into the salt stacks. Like it's I know what's gonna happen there. It's cool. Yeah, it's just so that you don't have like oh crap, it's like half this and half a weird desert. Also, we've chosen environments that are really disparate.
And
They're
how
very
many,
very different.
How many environments are we going to have?
Oh, we're gonna have 5.
Asked Pit and Injury.
So that's what we're shooting for right now. Is that we'll have 5 environments, and each of them will have some number of we're calling them generic maps. They're not going to be generic though, because this isn't generic. We call them generic maps.
we
and
call
these-
them wilderness maps. Or something.
wilderness maps. That's a much better way. And so these will be randomly given to you when you take a mission in one of those regions. And then there will also be we're calling it a keep map. So some of the high stakes missions of the game will be when the Cadence attacks one of the keeps where you have your heroes retired, and then you'll have to do a mission on that map, and we have some indoor space, and that's more like the Mangrove one. That was kind of our test for it.
Here's a question for the artist. Some nerd asks, how do these shapes look so organic and work so well together? Can you talk about what does it take to fit these guys together to do the custom elements, and how much cut and paste can you do, and any challenges associated with that?
well, I don't know how much those blockers look organic because they're all the same one, just rotated and scaled slightly.
Yeah, those are all the same.
Spoilers!
Don't tell anyone,
So
it's a
these
secret.
these right here.
That is the secret to environmental design is you rotate something slightly and then scale it up or down. That
So this little tiny guy here, like this little tiny one, and this bigger one,
yeah,
and this bigger
those
one.
there are only 2 blockers that I made for this level so far. There's a small one, which is the little 3 stone one, and then the large one, which is 1 stone that it's got a couple of different pools around
Uh-huh.
it, and it is literally rotated and scaled slightly like this.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier when you were
Yeah.
walking around, but I forgot that this map is a really good showcase for how few pieces you need to make a map. Because we're not finished, right?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
looks pretty damn
Can you-
good.
It
Can you
looks
point out the
it
pieces
looks
one more
pretty damn
time?
Good.
It's
okay.
really easy. So if you go back and zoom out a little bit. So there's the small one, right there. Those
This-
3 rocks. That's a small blocker, and then
okay.
the medium-sized one right there. That's the medium blocker.
And then
This-
all of them are
this-
those.
And
two
two
pieces.
everything in the level that is not ground are those 2
Those
objects.
2 pieces.
Yeah.
It's like magic.
That's totally crazy. I didn't even realize that. I would have guessed that there are 3 of each. Is what I would have guessed. Just from cruising around it, messing around with it, seeing it, not looking at it too hard. I would be like, yeah, there's 3 low ones and 3 high ones. And
Now
then
I
what
guess
if
we know we don't need 3 of those.
yeah, I mean it's like it looks looks good enough.
Well, there are some elements that were called out in Derek's drawings and sort of previs of the level that we haven't gotten in here yet. Like there's some what are called like walking stones, which John brought up originally, where they're these sort of like weird out of place stones that get pushed around by wind in real life, and so we're going to have some sort of analog for those things in this level that sort of cut their way through the pools.
And there'll be a cool sort of like
where they've like sort of dug a trough that prevents the water from going into it and whatnot.
There were some little succulent plants that we were going to use as like a different color to just splash around.
Sure. Yeah, so that it's just not all kind of like one thing.
Yeah. Right now the pools are like way too much in the level.
What
like
about
for the playable space?
What about this area? This sort of like pantsy area right here. This like extra thing. Like, was this just a custom piece that you built, or what is this?
That thing right there is actually what makes up most of what's below the level. Like those are 2 objects that I've sort of, you rotate and move around. So if you go to where the level starts, right, and then you go.
Is that right here?
Yeah, right there. So if you go up and turn off the fog of war, you'll see the 2 pieces that make up the rest of this level. So that's the small one right there, with
This
those
thing?
and those pools, and then the big one you can actually see sort of like flopping off
This
the end of
guy
the mat.
here.
Yeah. And so the thing you were looking at over there is literally the small one put on
Stacked
top
on
of
top
that
of the
guy.
big one?
Yeah.
And that's super cool too.
You
Because
magnificent bastard! Like, what? That's the kind of stuff that just like that's what that is right there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
and,
We're giving away all of our secrets. Now everybody else is just gonna start making.
and we're
video
not
games.
going to be making the maps procedurally. We are going to be doing, hand arting them up, and this is going to let us do it fast to get the basic shapes out, and then all the time we have left we can use to make, individual interesting elements or make more maps.
Or make more of them.
And
Yeah.
that's,
All the
and that's
time
super
we'll
cool.
have left.
All of
with
the
all the time we'll have
2
left,
minutes.
yes.
All of the time.
We did talk about how perfectly things go once you enter production, how everything just lines up and you just start banging it out. So no big deal.
Awesome. Well, one more question from Solar Blitz. I didn't notice a particular ceiling in this salt stacks area. Is it indoors or outdoors? Like I say, this is outdoors. But then when we do indoor stuff, how are we going to do ceiling elements?
That's kind of up in the air right now. Like
Yeah,
we're
we're still figuring that
Up
out.
in the
aren't we?
literally. Yeah.
See what you did there.
We can go back to the mangrove level and just show
we
off.
talked about beams
current.
and beams
Yeah.
and stuff like that
Yeah.
up high, rafters and whatnot.
A lot of it
Wow,
is like
green.
the climate change.
just
And it's
fly
weird
over
to talk about climate in the sense that there's a climate outside, which of course there's a climate that you're always in, but like in real life, the climate doesn't change when you go inside of your house. But in terms of this game, it does, right? And because the climate
so
defines
when we
lighting
talk
and
about
everything
climate,
else.
just to clarify for everyone, we're talking about the color of the sunlight, the full screen effects,
Yeah.
whether there's any color cast over the screen. So it's more than just
Yeah, how intense
that
the
all-
lights are just
Yeah,
in general.
yeah.
Like there's when we talk about climate in terms of the game, it's like everything that makes up visually what you see in the world, sort of. It's the layer that goes in on top of it, like all the light and you can control things like the hue and the saturation of the colors inside of the climate. So it does a lot of things.
and the weather, like we're seeing the
Yeah.
rain. This is a good example of what Jeff's talking about. It's raining inside the keep because we don't have
Yeah.
we don't have an indoor climate just for inside the building.
And the
So
way
this
that we
is
do that
still
is just
something
like-
we have to figure out.
Like having a trigger volume or something
Right.
around it, so that it's
Box.
like, okay, when the camera is inside this, just turn off the effects
off
and
the
switch
rain.
over to this other climate. We've done that before. Usually it's character based,
Yeah.
but in this it's going to be definitely.
It's
like
a lot easier when
camera-based.
it's character based because
It-
you get into weird edge
it sure
situations
is.
like
It
here
sure
where
is.
the camera is outside of
Yes.
the keep and you're looking at your dudes inside of the keep. So
Yeah.
what do you display? Do you display
Right.
the outlet climate?
Right.
And
It might
that's-
be. So Chad actually had a lot of success when he was working on the camera box, which is the thing that keeps the camera like in the playable space, basically. Like I can't. I'm like driving it into this corner and I can't get it out there.
waterfall over there.
We need a little bit. We need a little bit more water over here, you guys. We need a little bit more water over there. Let me rotate it.
Looks
but
like there's no pants.
Yeah.
But we could,
cables.
because everything is is flat, what we could do is do it based on the look point. So if your look point is inside the keep like this, the rain would stop. And if your look point's outside the keep, it would be raining. But then I guess, I don't know.
If we
We'll have
had
to
a
talk to them
really
about it.
different indoor climate, though, in that situation, it would look strange outside if you were suddenly getting indoor mood.
Yeah.
If we had it blue
Yep.
on the inside and green on the outside. So it's a tough question.
Yeah, it's
If we're going to have hybrid indoor-outdoor maps, it's a tough one to solve.
and changing up atmosphere and climate stuff is just a difficult thing at the boundaries. Like, if you notice in a lot of games where they go from underwater to above water, they kind of skip the transition. Like, it's really hard to make that transition work without coloring the stuff above water blue and foggy, or it's weird. Like, that's a really strange one. So
It's
going
like
indoor,
every game
outdoor,
has
too.
that problem. It's
Yep.
or the entire game is built around that sort of change. You know,
Yeah.
it's a difficult thing.
Sweet. Well, thanks for the questions, everybody.
Yeah.
We're at an hour.
I think we're going to be wrapping this thing up. Yeah.
But first,
Oh,
we
and then-
have something to give away.
That's right. We're totally going to give away a $100 tier of the game. So,
Yeah. So I have this cool app that's it's looking at everyone who's chatted with us today and going to pick a random one. So I'm rolling the dice. Double Fine employees are not eligible.
I was going to say, it's bound to give it to
it's totally going to be DF Dan, right? Yeah. DF Raz wins a $100 copy of the game. Okay, you ready? You got it
works.
reloaded? I think we're going to hit this button.
Crap.
This is pretty
Here we
exciting.
go. Roll the dice.
Bam! Okay, your
weird.
$100 winner is...
Jack in the green.
Amazing.
What?
It has a
doesn't.
dot,
It
dot,
has
dot on
cut
it,
off
huh?
his name. Jack in the GRE. Dot, 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 dot.
Jack in the Greh.
Is this a
You can
person?
message him, though. Message
Yes.
him right now.
Oh crap. Maybe I can. Oh, this.
Oh, he's not
This thing-
following us. I think he has to follow us.
Oh nope. He's
There he
just
is.
messaged me.
There he is.
All right.
I just saw him. He said amazing.
For some reason,
Jack in
I
the green.
am not able to message you. But we'll hit you up in just a minute, and we'll get your name and email address. and
Definitely
you've won.
set to work out some bugs, but
Premium-
congrats to
premium
Jack
show
in the
today,
Green.
everyone.
Yeah, that's right. It's that massive Wii, man. I'm just a little drunk right now.
Oh, here you go.
know?
There's a whole other button for write message that takes me to another tab where I
Excellent.
can write a message. I'm going to write a message right now. You win. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us
Thanks
today.
to Backer Mark for providing that. We do have some more of those to give away,
Yeah.
so we're going to save them for more team streams
We'll
later.
be streaming them out
Oh, man. That's
whatever. I mean,
You're cut off.
yeah,
You're cut off.
cut off.
That's it.
All right.
I wish we could
No
shoot
more.
these at people like a T-shirt cannon.
Oh,
That would be
great.
awesome.
oh,
That'd be
virtual
great.
T-shirt cannon.
Okay, sweet. So thanks for joining us, Teamstream 12. We'll be back in another 2 weeks. That'll be right before the holidays. That'll be sweet. We'll have plenty more progress, and that's going to be the end of our pre-production. I think we're totally on track for that. Everything's cool. I think the whole game will be playable in some kind of fashion by that point, which is pretty
game.
exciting. Not the whole game.
We should quantify
Yeah, not the whole game. You know, a big chunk of the okay. So
the whole of
It'll
the
be
game that we have at that
a
point.
part of
will
the
be
game will
playable.
be mostly playable by that. But I feel like we've answered a lot of questions, and we're like on the road to making the game be a good video game. So we'll see you again in 2 weeks, December 20th, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.